Hello there, and welcome. It's Psychic Cynthia here, spiritual psychic Cynthia Killian, and welcome. Yesterday, I was in a reading with a client, and she's a very psychically gifted young woman. She has many of the natural gifts. She's a wonderful seer, a psychic dreamer, a feeler, um, and she's had experiences with being contacted by spirits or sensing spirits, and there's some fear around that. She said to me, she asked me, are there bad spirits? Do bad spirits exist? And my answer to her is absolutely yes, bad spirits do exist. She said, do dark spirits exist? But I want to be clear here that what she meant is bad spirits, okay? Do dark spirits exist? And the answer is yes. But not all spirits are dark, and the thing about the spirit world is it's just like our physical world, but even more complex and much more diverse than our physical world, because our physical world is just a small, very tiny portion of reality. Most of reality is non-physical, or should I say realities. So there are all kinds of spiritual beings and all kinds of spirit beings. And they're not all human related, okay? They haven't all lived human lives, and that's another discussion for another time. You could even get into the fairy spirits. You could get into what some call extraterrestrials, which may or may not be. There's just a lot of different dimensions and a lot of different life forms in the spiritual realm. So apart from the discussion of light and dark, you could even just look at there's different life forms and there's different ways of being. But yes, there are dark or negative spirits. Okay, negative, maybe it's a better word. I don't really even like to use the word bad, and I do use the word dark sometime, but I feel it's not descriptive enough. There are spirits that are coming from a more negative space, a more destructive space, and even that might have a cosmic role, I will say. But obviously, when you're psychically opening, you don't want to open to only that. And a lot of people are afraid of this. They let their fear of dark spirits or bad spirits or negative spirits, you might let your fear of those kinds of spirits stop you from connecting. But here's the thing. There's bad people, right? Aren't there negative people? Aren't there assholes out there? Excuse my French, please, but aren't there people out there who are not very nice, who aren't very kind, who will stab you in the back, who will do all kinds of things? There are some people out there like that. But there's a lot more good people, I think. And just because there are people out there that are negative, do you let that stop you from connecting with people at all? I sure hope not. Okay, so just keep it in perspective. And yes, there are negative spirit entities, and there are positive spirit entities, and there are neutral. There's all kinds, just like people, it's all kinds in between, right? There's plenty of spirit entities that just frankly don't care about you or me. They're completely neutral and ambivalent to us. And there's many that do care, that are loving, they are benign, they are beneficent, they are giving. And that's what I told her, because she said, okay, if these dark spirits are real, then how do I protect myself against them? And there are all kinds of ways to do psychic protection. And there are many techniques, and I do videos about that sometimes and teach courses on that. But that being said, the most important aspect of psychic protection, I feel, at this time, okay, besides keeping your own energy strong, that is extremely important. Keeping your own energy field strong with regular psychic cleansing, with physical activity, eating a nutritious diet, just staying healthy and well and energized, breathing in the fresh air. My goddess, there is so much power and energy coming into me right here, right now, through this fresh air and this sunlight. It's freely available. Okay, I didn't really even have to go anywhere. I'm just outside. So these are all things that will help keep your aura strong, actually. It's not just physically healthy, okay? A lot of people hear this and say, oh yeah, it's just fitness. No, it's your etheric body needs to be strong so you're not weak and vulnerable to dark energies. Got it? So that's important. And I didn't really go over that with her because I felt we needed to focus on something else for the day. And I think she's got that part down. But maybe you don't. Maybe you need to work on that. Maybe you sit inside all day watching YouTube videos, which I thank you for watching, but get outside some, okay? Get outside some. You know, it'll do you a world of good. I mean, breathe some fresh air if you can. Just get a little light. Get a little moonlight if you're a night owl. I like the night too. So, but the other thing is, you know, especially when you're first getting started, if you're new to communicating with spirit, or you know, you just don't know much, you don't have much experience yet, then focus on connecting with your own guides or your own ancestors or your own angels. And you'll notice that I'm saying those three spirit type of entities as if they are different types, and in my experience they are different. Although an ancestor can be a guide and can act in a guardian angel role, but an angel is an angel. It's a certain type of being or entity. And then guides, you know, guides is this is a category of beings that can have a lot of different types of beings. And then your ancestors, well, you know what that is, right? You get that. Although many people don't get it. I mean, many people just think it's their mother or father or their grandmother. No, it's further back in time, very far back. It's the ancestors. So any one of this category of spirit entities, you know, and again, that's your guides, your ancestors, or your angels, which it would be fair to say they're all your guides, but the ancestors and angels are specific types of guides, okay? And listen, you don't need to split hairs on this. You don't need to go over, you know, in your mind, you don't need to know precisely the difference right now. You just understand you're reaching out to one of those. And I do have a video about that. I'll see if I can remember to link to that below, kind of summarizing the difference between those three. But the big picture is, what you need to know for today is that these are your personal guides, if you will, or your personal ancestors or angels. They care about you personally. They want to help you. They want you to do well, because frankly, when you do well, they do well. You know, they're bonded to you, whether that's by blood or spiritual DNA or karma. You are their eyes and their hands. You know, you are their arms in this world. So they want you to do well. It reflects well on them when you do. They're invested in you. So you can trust these spirits. You can trust the ones that love you and are on your team, literally. And that's who you should focus on opening to, instead of, you know, just starting out and like, oh yeah, you're going to be a medium. I'm going to be a medium, and I'm going to open to all these other people's relatives and all these dead spirits and whatever random spirit comes along. Hell no. Okay, why would you do that? I mean, especially if you're not very experienced. And by the way, I am very experienced with spirit communication, and I don't do that. I don't just go around, you know, randomly opening to whatever spirit. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, I mean, would you do that with your physical body? Would you go randomly around just getting with whoever? I hope not. You know, love yourself more than that. Okay? So focus on those loving relationships that are closer to you, you know. And I know a lot of people say an affirmation to their guides every day, or just ask their guides to watch over them. And that's fine. That's a good start, but it's really hardly a start. You know, start to ask your guides for help. Start to ask them what they think. Start to, you know, ask them to help you with specific things, or ask them to show you what you should be focusing on. Ask them to guide you in the right direction. And this can be in any area of life, as long as what you're asking about is coming from a, you know, loving place, and it's not a place of greed. And by the way, asking for help with your finances is not greed. I mean, we all need, you know, some money to survive, and our ancestors want us to be comfortable. In most cases, our guides and angels do too. Now, sometimes some people have to go through poverty to learn certain things, and that could be a karmic issue, but if you recognize what it is you need to learn and you just learn it, then you don't need that anymore. Okay, and you can ask your guides for help with that. I mean, in any situation where you're struggling, you can ask your guides or your ancestors or your angels. You can ask them, you can say, show me what I need to learn here so that I can transform this situation. There's a good affirmation or question to speak with your guides. So, what I'm really saying here, though, is, you know, get a conscious relationship going and communicate and open to your guides. That is safe. They love you. They care about you. Do that before you go out and try to open to other people's spirit guides, even, even other people's spirit guides, because, um, you know, I think when you develop, it's kind of like family relationships. If you have healthy family relationships in childhood, even if you just have one healthy relationship with one person, it might not even be your family, it might be a mentor. And you learn about, if you learn about healthy connection when you're young on your path, then as you mature and come into adulthood, you can have healthy relationships. And so the same thing is true in your psychic development, your psychic practice. If in the beginning, if you have healthy relationships with your spiritual family, that's your guides, your angels, and your ancestors, and also your totems. I didn't put that in here, but yes. So if you connect with your team first, your family, and you develop that relationship, then that's going to provide the spiritual and the psychic and psychological foundation for you to then spread out and connect with other, spirits, spirits that, maybe you're doing a reading for somebody, or maybe you go into a room and you sense that spirit, because then you're going to be encircled in that aura of love. And then your guides will protect you primarily from the negative energy, or at least they'll warn you. Okay, they'll tell you, hey, this is not a good spirit. This is a good spirit. Or, sometimes when I'm reading for a client, especially if it's a mediumship reading and they have a passed on loved one, I mean, sometimes that passed on loved one is not in a good space. And, my guides will let me come a certain level of close to communicate, but they won't let me go too far. They help me know, what is safe. How open is it? How safe is it to open, and to what extent? So your guides can help you with that. And that's what I would recommend. That is a really good protection from dark entities. That is a good protection from, getting sucked in. It just will help you so much. And then, of course, keeping your own energy field strong. But I really do think developing your relationship with your own guides, or even one guide in particular, one very loving, high vibration guide, one guide that is wise, that cares for you, that leads you in the right path. This is good. And then you can always call upon that guide to assist you. Alrighty, just a little tip, and I'm hoping that you're all having a delightful journey, awakening your own psychic gifts and having fun with it, and hopefully, honoring the path, but also not taking it too seriously, taking it seriously, but in a light way. If we get too heavy with it, then that's when you start getting your psychic blocks. Okay, on that note, until next time, I'm sending you all many bright blessings and good vibes.